I got a feeling that you got me covered too. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Hi everybody, how's everybody doing tonight? Kind of figuring out what's going on. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Um, Give me just a minute as I'm trying to kind of figure out what's going on here because I didn't title it right. So hold on a second. Still has my birthday on here. We're past my birthday. It's still my birthday month, but we're past that, right? So I won't be on here too long because I'm going on Alfonso soon, but I thought this was interesting, and so I figured we would discuss it for a moment before going off on Alfonso's, because of course we're all talking about, we're going live throughout my month, my birthday month, and so I just have to change it because for some reason, while everybody's kind of coming in, it had in here that it was still my birthday. I don't know why. So I have no idea why it was doing what it was doing. But I think I changed it. Hopefully it says it. My phone, of course, is over there. So hopefully now it is updated and it doesn't say my birthday. There's no storms out there. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Because we won't have anything quit on us, right? That of course, and I just want to make sure that I'm seeing the change happen on this side. Yes, okay. So we're seeing it on this side, so we're good on that side, and hopefully everybody will get the notifications, and we can kind of go forward for a few minutes. Again, it won't be long because we've got Alfonso, but it will be certainly some time with y'all. And let's see if I can get the chat up here when it decides. I don't know. Let's see. Of course, somebody has to come in, right? Which hopefully somebody will soon. So we'll see whether the chat box works or not. I had it on last time, but of course it didn't want to come in. So anyway, I found this kind of interesting, and I thought, well, I have a brief period of time before I go on Alfonso. So I found this article because what I have realized in the past little bit is I have somewhat been self-sabotaging myself, which we're going to actually talk about. You know, every once in a while you get these light bulb moments that decide to come on that go, hey, here's something. And I've realized I kind of have gotten, sort of self-sabotaged my own little self. We're behind with the devotions, which I do not like, and I want to get caught up. I've gotten through until the 11th. Hi, Kept, how are you? And I'm working to get, okay, we got the chat box working on the side. I'll figure out how to get you all's comments on the screen. I'll get there. That I've kind of gotten myself going, okay, well, we've got until the 11th, still behind about 12 days, something like that. And I don't know about yourself, when you're behind, you kind of like, I can just wait a little bit more. And then what is happening? As that is happening, further and further and further, I'm getting more and more behind because I'm like, oh, I can wait and I'll do another row, especially we know our crocheters out there. We'll do another row, we'll watch a little bit more, and then before you know it, where did the time go? And it's 7 o'clock at night. We all know that thing. And I'm thinking to myself, we'll talk about on another live about self-sabotaging ourselves because I think we tend to do that, kind of how to get out of that. But I found this article and I thought it was interesting. And of course, I had a brief time. So we're going to talk about a 5-minute little thing that you can do, maybe to motivate yourself a little bit. I thought the tips on it were actually pretty good. I will put the article in the description below for you to kind of follow up a little bit more. So, I gotta find the article. So the article is 5-minute rules. Use the 5-minute rule to stop procrastination. I'm a huge person who tends to procrastinate. And this gentleman does have a YouTube channel, so hopefully you'll go over there and get some more tips. I'm going to go over there and watch the actual video on YouTube. But the article basically says, now implementing the 5-minute rule, understanding the technique. Okay, the technique is a form of cognitive behavior or therapy. I know about that because of Christina, that focuses on short bursts of work to combat procrastination. One thing that I have said to myself, and I haven't done a very good job of it, I'll be the first one to admit it, is I've said to myself, okay, Mary, turn the computer on, have the shower, have your coffee, crochet in the morning, turn the computer on, and then stop crocheting, come over, do 2 or 3 devotions, go back and crochet a little bit, take a break, then come back and do it. That hasn't worked too well. But I've got to just do it. I love doing the devotions, and once I get on a roll, it's like one happens, and another one gets recorded, and another one gets recorded, and I enjoy it. But it's the motivation part where it's kind of like, it's kind of, once you sit in the seat and you start, it's a whole different thing. It's like crochet. Once you start crocheting, it's like before you know it, 2 or 3 hours can go by. We all know that, right? So, understanding the technique, setting simple goals. Begin the task you've been putting off by committing only to a 5-minute effort or more. So one thing that I probably need to do is I need to realize this is a big chunk. And we're behind because there was 2 deaths in the family. There was some health issues that put me behind. And so I know some of this is not necessarily because I was being, I don't want to curl the word lazy, but it kind of is. It was for significant reasons of why things just didn't happen as they should have happened. And so I maybe am biting off too much. Maybe instead of sitting down and saying, okay, I need to sit down and record 4, and I'm going to be really focusing on them in the next 2 days. But after I kind of get caught up with this, I've got to find a way to do the recording. I much prefer doing lives, but I know that these need to get done, and I enjoy doing them, and I want to do them. I prefer the live because I interact with you all, but these need to get done, and the videos need to get done, and the editing needs to get done, and it just needs to happen. And I enjoy doing them once I get started. But once I get caught up, I've got to get into a routine of figuring out what's going to work for me. There's also another factor, which is also the fibromyalgia factor. And again, I have found just doing one thing will get me going. Absolutely. It's like I know once I sit here and start doing it, before I know it, 2 or 3 devotions and I'm in. I mean, I'm just sitting here and just like one after another, and I get my mojo going. It's getting the mojo going. That's sometimes the problem. And so I have the fibromyalgia side that can be difficult at times. And understandably, and that's one thing that I have to put in the factor, but I'm going to have to figure, I'm not too much of a schedule person, but I'm going to have to figure out a schedule so that I'm doing it, because I never want to be in this position again, because it's like you just feel like you're always playing catch up, and I don't like that. I don't want to do that, but that's a good idea. Take it and know that, you know what, maybe instead of saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and do 2 or 3, I'm going to sit down and do 1. knowing that if I sit down and do one, I'm going to roll probably into two or three because I'm going to get in a roll. So instead of looking at it, maybe that's the way I need to look at it. Making it approachable, visualizing a 5 month or 5 minute, not 5 month, 5 minute work period turns daunting tasks into manageable ones. Instead of sitting there and saying to myself, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on 3 devotions, which quite frankly can seem overwhelming. I know when I sit down and start recording the first one, I'm going to roll into 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I know that. But I need to say, okay, let's sit down. Mary, we're going to do one. And then knowing I'm probably going to do more once I get going. That's, I think, that's what I need to do. I love this other one. Use it as a stepping stone. It's saying actually exactly what I was just saying. Often the first 5 minute work creates momentum to make it easier to continue the task completion. So what I am doing to myself is the thought of doing 2 or 3 is overwhelming. I need to just say I'm going to do one, and that will help to motivate me to continue doing it. I love this other one, permission to stop. If after 5 minutes the task feels insurmountable, you can choose to stop without guilt. This is high bud files. This is wonderful for people that are dealing with chronic pain or fibromyalgia. If I'm going to sit down here and I'm going, wait a minute, I'm dealing with headache or I'm dealing with chronic pain or whatever it is, I need to realize, you know what? I need to give myself permission to stop if need be. I need to say, wait a minute, this is just not happening today. Because especially, and I think people need to realize that too, especially as somebody that's on YouTube, people will notice if you are doing it and you're not being authentic. If you're not feeling it, it's not going to come through. And so giving yourself permission to stop. If you're dealing with chronic pain, try to do it. If you're not feeling it, whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be YouTube, you know what? You need to stop and not feel guilty, especially if you're dealing with chronic pain. At least you tried. Now, there's a difference between trying and giving up too soon or not giving it a good effort. Give it a good effort, but don't feel guilty if you know what, I can't do this. I just have to stop. And we need to give ourselves that grace for sure. I love that. Establishing a pattern. I'm not greatest at this one, but I need to work on it. Regular use of this rule can significantly enhance productivity, reducing mental stress over time. Now, I really liked this one because it said using the 5-minute rule. So implementing the 5-minute rule involves a straightforward approach. Select a specific task. If you've been delaying on a work assignment or a study session or a simple household chores, select a specific task. Start a timer for 5 minutes without the intention to dedicate your efforts solely to the chosen task during the brief window. So set a 5-minute timer. So maybe what I need to do is set a 20-minute timer, knowing that I'll probably go past that 20 minutes, but set a 5-minute timer. Work with focus, avoiding any interruptions for the entire duration of the timer is counting down. And that means maybe putting the phone down and really focusing on that. Once the timer signals the end, decide if you are ready to pause or if you're motivated to, if the momentum you've gained encourages you to keep making progress. A key point is it's common to overcome initial resistance and become engrossed in a task once started. And that's what happens with me with crochet. Before I know it, 2 or 3 hours have gone by. And then it says to remember it is fine to take a break after 5 minutes and return to the activity later. The objective is to the initial action and building it from there. I love this 5-minute rule. Simple things to kind of overcome. Minimize smartphone interference. I did that today. I actually was sitting on the phone crocheting, right? And I'm sitting there watching myself, and I'm stopping from the crochet, and I'm going to my phone, and I'm going through Facebook. I'm going on my phone, stop the crochet. I'm going on the phone and playing games. I'm not doing what I set out to do today because the phone has taken over. How do you make a quilt one stitch at a time? I love that. That is so true. But sometimes we take on too many chunks, and we take on too big of a task, especially when we're dealing with chronic pain. So I love the fact that, we got to put the cell phone down. That needs to be the reward afterwards. Online distracting. Utilize browsing plugins and amend a restriction access to specific sites during work time. Sound insulation. Put the headphones to insulate from audio distractions within the environment. Task capture technique. If another task comes to mind, jot it down promptly and return to the current activity without skipping a beat. So that all was done. And smart goal setting. Outline your goals using a SMART framework to ensure the clear definition and achievable within the set time frame, thus enhancing your commitment. I really like this, and I want to listen to this video. That's why I thought I'll do it. And he also talks about managing anxiety, which I think sometimes when we're doing this 5-minute strategy, sometimes just the thought of doing the activity can make anxiety happen. So complete these small steps can provide a sense of accomplishment and control. Starting a task can reduce the anxiety linked up to it. And I think that this article is very good. I also want to listen to his video that he has. And it says 7 habits that save me 3+ hours a day. Well, that would be something worth it, right? So I will definitely be looking at that. But I really like those high fuzz adventures. I really like those little things. I know, we're going to talk about it. I don't want to make this too long. I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention because I really like that 5-minute kind of rule. And I'm going to actually print it out and probably put it up here someplace where I can see it and look at it. Oh, well, that's awesome. I will. I've been praying for you, Fuzz, for sure. I think that one of the topics that I'm going to kind of do a little bit of research on for next week, I'm going to do one that's going to self-sabotaging ourselves. Because I can tell you, it was literally a light bulb moment today when I realized, and I said to myself, you know what, Mary, that's exactly what you're doing. You are self-sabotaging yourself, and you're not, you're getting this all wrong. And I think that we do that in tasks and in our lives. We self-sabotage ourselves. And then before you know it, it's kind of like, wait a minute. This is not helping us in our growth as individuals. Maybe it's happening on YouTube. I thought about that for a moment today. And I'm going to redirect you over because Alfonso's doing a live when this ends shortly. He's doing a live and I'm going over there. So I'm going to put that in for redirecting. I think this is the one. Yeah. So when this ends, it'll redirect you all over to Alfonso's channel. But I'm always saying how much I can accomplish in 5 minutes. But I think self-sabotage is a great topic because I think we do that a lot more than what we think. I think we do that to ourselves personally. I think we do it in motivating ourselves. I think as YouTubers, we're sitting at 1705 or 1746 is where our numbers are right now. And I'm not even looking for my mom. Remember, I use this channel for connection. All the revenue goes to mama. And I'm sitting there to myself thinking, I'm kind of I'm not even looking at I'm not looking at even 1800 or 1900. I'm looking at the 2000 mark, thinking to myself, I didn't think we could do that. And so I think I would have to make it two separate lives because I think that it's a topic to talk about self-sabotaging yourself as a YouTube creator, content creator, and then one outside of that, because I think we do that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, 2000 seems huge. I didn't think we could get there. And kind of that that kind of apprehension a little bit. Am I good enough? Are we good enough to get there? Of course we are. But those little things come in your head and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, and then of course with everything, hi Sandy, we're going to be heading over to Alfonso shortly. And then of course, not only that, not only is that all in there too, to kind of think of that, but then we have to think of to ourselves, it's, I know that I had everything happen within the past 3 months. I had health issues. We had 2 deaths in the family. It was all different kind of stuff. And there was times I couldn't be on lives and YouTube. And what has happened is, of course, the algorithm doesn't really know us anymore, even though I can tell you we've really been growing this month. We've gone over the 1700 by my birthday. It was one thing that I wanted, and then we've actually gotten to 1746. Why? Because I've been involved in other chats, other people, connecting with other people, making those connections, which are so important, and we've grown because of that. And I'm like, it's gonna happen, but not only, I think that when we sabotage ourselves, it really, really stifles our motivation. Because we can talk ourselves out of doing things that can improve ourselves, our health, our lives. We can be, if we're having a channel and it's growing, we can grow the channel. And so, I think it's a great topic because I think it's the self-sabotaging part of it. It takes the motivation. It's almost like dumping water on a fire. The fire's roaring and we're just dumping water on it. Let's just dump water and it just slowly dies down instead of growing, because we're allowing ourselves, this thing is a very powerful little piece of equipment to talk ourselves out of so much. I don't know how many times I've sat over there in the past couple of days going, oh, I'll come over and record in the next hour. I'll watch this episode and then I'll come over and record. And then before you know it, it's like, wait a minute. 3 hours have gone by. I've just dumped water on the fire. And I realized that today. I'm the queen of procrastination. And I think that there's several things within that whole thing to fill. There's talking about self-sabotaging ourselves individually within our lives. How do we self-sabotage ourselves as content creators? By not doing things that can grow ourselves on social media. And then we have the other factor that lies there that says, yes, okay, how do we motivate ourselves? And also, how do we motivate ourselves? Those are 4 topics right there. How do we motivate ourselves when we're dealing with a chronic illness? That, when we're talking about motivation, I'm going to get off here in a few minutes. We're talking about motivation. We have to realize there's 2 different worlds. If you're struggling with motivation, that's there. But if you're struggling with motivation as someone that's dealing with a chronic illness, you cannot sit there and say they're both the same. Both my hands, I got 5 fingers on either hand. You can't. You have to separate them. You have to separate them. You can't put them together because they're 2 different things. If I'm motivated to get up and do something, record something, go do something, and my pain chills start, everything has to stop. Absolutely everything. I've got to stop moving. I've got to get blankets on top of me, and I could be there for the next 2 hours before the pain chills stop and I've warmed my body up and I stop hurting. And then I can move, and then I can do what it is. Well, if I was really on fire and motivated 2 hours ago to go do something, now am I as motivated as I was 2 hours ago? Probably not. Here's another factor. After that episode is over with, because my body is hurting and that's my body's using energy to kind of deal with the pain, and so that's what happens to me. What happens then is I'm tired. Even if I have had a little bit of a nap, I'm tired after that because I'm like, man, that just wore me out. So am I motivated to go do what I was going to go 2 hours ago? Probably not. If I have a migraine hit out of nowhere and I sit and I deal with my migraine and it's done, am I as motivated as I was 2 hours ago to do? Probably not. So when you're dealing with a chronic illness, a whole different world. You cannot, hi Echo, you cannot put them together. You have to separate them. And so I think this week we're going to go and we're going to talk about those topics. I will do research. I'm not going to do a topic every day. We are going to start, because I really, really, really enjoyed that with y'all, and it actually got pretty good on the views. We're going to go out at least twice a week, if not more. And I think I'm looking at kind of maybe continuing with doing some kind of connection somewhere every day. I'm not going to do it on Mondays. I may pick one other day to take off my plate. But for a little bit to kind of get back into the loop of everything, we're going to go sit outside. I really love that because then I really don't have to come up with a topic. I cannot do that every day. There's no way I can do it. But at least twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, while the weather's nice and while it's not snowing out there, we'll take the rocking chair, put on my phone. I know my phone lasted for about 2 hours last night. And we'll sit out there. I'll bring a crochet project and we're just going to turn on the lighthouse and we're just going to chit chat and talk. That was really nice. Really enjoyed it. People really liked it. And also when we come through YouTube, we're exposed a little bit more. So for numerous reasons, we're going to start doing that. And we're just going to talk. They're going to be called Rockin', Connecting, and Crocheting times. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I have every intention of doing that 2 or 3 times a week When it starts getting cold, when it starts snowing, we can do it right in my bedroom. Done it before. We'll put the rocking chair, we'll turn on the thing, and we'll just chit chat. We're going to do that several times a week. So we're just opening up this channel and doing what this channel was intended to do, which is connect. But I will try over the next week to do several of those topics, maybe 2 of them next week and 2 of them the following week. We're going to talk about self-sabotaging ourselves in our personal lives and self-sabotaging ourselves as a content creator. Because I think you can do it. You can get burned out. You can talk yourself out of stuff. And then, you know what? It doesn't help. Then we're going to talk about motivation in a little bit more detail than just this 5-minute rule, which I think is awesome. And again, I'll put the news article, I found the article, in the description below when I get done. So we'll do a little bit more deep dive into motivation, because I think in order to build the fire of motivation, you got to get through the self-sabotaging of yourself. And then we're also going to talk about motivating ourselves when we're dealing with a chronic illness. So look out for those topics happening over the next 2 weeks. But I think I'm probably going to continue with doing more lives and getting back into the fray of things. Because, guys, we're only about 250 away from 2,000. And when that happens, we're going to have another celebration. That's for sure. I was able to send the gift card out to the person that won for my birthday. Remember the person that won the CD that I'll have to go back and look, that Alfonso gave out and is giving out, still needs to send me their information. And go and look at the recipe for my grandmother's spaghetti sauce, because, again, in that spaghetti sauce recipe is a giveaway. So we're going to take a moment. Yes, and I'm so glad you've just been, Sandy, you've been an awesome friend and an awesome mod, and I just love you. We're going to take
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you know, I get to see Elvis in that. And remember, it's never expected. It's appreciated if you're able to be a member, if you're able to support the channel in any way. But just being here, showing on up, watching our things, watching the ads in its entirety and all that kind of stuff does help tremendously. And at the very end of that, a little thing, it says, thank you very much, because I want to thank everybody for being here, and reminding them to be an amazing disco ball as they are. So remember to be proud of being yourself. Everyone else is taken. Keep crocheting that connection. No crochet hook is required. We will see on the next one. We got you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered. And this will be redirected over to Alfonso's live. I'm going to take a break for just a few minutes, and then I will hop onto his live and join him over there. So look for me over there in a few minutes, but this will redirect you over there. So we'll see you in a few minutes over on Alfonso's channel, and I will go ahead and drop that in there. That way, that'll be in there, and we'll see you over there. Have a great night or day wherever you're seeing this, and look for those topics next week for sure. God bless, and bye-bye for now.
So proud of being me.